Alright, this is a calm bitch bit. I've got Schiller playing in the background. A little bit of White Widow. I want to talk about Stigma. Part of my trip, part of my trip going to Burning Man this year was going to be including it with the ultimate road trip. The two trips are now separating. So the 21,193 mile trip will be done in 2018. Working with Tesla at this moment to try to secure a vehicle and so forth for this trip, just for the trip. One, to test the technologies, to show that long haul technologies in the shortest period of time can be done. I'm having to take the mental health piece of the trip and kind of separate it. And it really hurts a lot because I was going to be using that trip this year to take the photographs to make a donation to the Veterans Administration on the 11th of November. Since it's not quite working the way that I had hoped, I'm going to be producing a whole series. I'm going through the files I've got and I'm going to take photographs as I go across the country and see if I can put together a very nice 40, it was going to be 48 photographs, but I'm going to try to do an even 50 photographs, fine art photographs for donations. So I'm actually pulling into what I have and what trips I will make between now and October. So that has been pulled out from it, and my Burning Man trip is going to be a straight trip from Savannah up in through Memphis, through, you know, straight over the, it doesn't matter, I'm going out that way. I'll hit Las Vegas for 2 days and then I'm going to go down into the Black Rock City. After that I'm going on a little exertion, can't even get the words out, but I'm going to go on a little bit of a trip. I'm going to go back up into Bend, which is 4 hours from Black Rock City. I'm going to go to Bend for a bit, and then I'm going to drive through the Oregon desert, up through some parts that I want to take some photographs of, come back down into Colorado, and make my trip through Paonia, Denver, back in through Manhattan. I have some unsettled business in Manhattan, Kansas. But that's neither here nor there, right? That's something that I will address later. That's all PTSD and military related. So that is kind of how I've shifted my trip around. Now, why? Now comes the bitch bit. To keep myself calm. I have to keep myself calm. The stigma of mental health is never, ever, ever been so high. And it was thrown out today during the congressional joke on passing the health care bill, you know, about mental health care in such a negative form. And so the stigma is radiating through the politics. So it's making our society push back for mental health issues. So I sent out press release. So I have received 4 individual rejections, very clearly stated that I am sorry, we support your trip, the idea, but we cannot be related to the cause, you know, the PTA. Because right now it's Drive Against PTSD. But inside the press release it was talking about addressing the stigma of all mental illnesses. They hear mental illness, they hear PTSD, they won't have anything to do with it. 4. Normally, if they don't want to hear anything, you don't get rejections from them. And I got 1 telephone call and I've got 3 emails. I'm dumbfounded. Now, as far as the Tesla, I understand how they're trying to drive it because the conversations, they gave me a beautiful insight in what their goal is and what they're trying to achieve in the next years to come. And I fully support it. They have nothing to do, the separation It has nothing to do with that corporation. I want to make sure that they are very, they are fine with it, the cause and everything, and really support veterans awesomely. But it was the 4 press organizations that showed me how strong the stigma is. Then my family members started throwing in their 2 cents worth to talk me out of the trip that I'm doing. Now, I was trying to combine multiple trips to make one trip out of 4 events. My wife is having her art porn exhibit in August and September in Las Vegas, right? So there would be a drop-off of artwork in Las Vegas to go to the museum, the Heritage Museum of Modern Erotic or Erotic Art. Don't ask. White Widow's kicking in nice. Anyway, so there's that trip. There's having to go up and see my sister up in Bend, right? There's a family obligation that occurs. There's my Burning Man trip, and there's the picking up of the equipment, of the artwork at the end of September. Oh, and I've got my college student in Colorado who's part of a pickup. So I was trying to make, and it seems like a huge, grandiose project, but since I'm driving it anyway, come on, I thought it would be a perfect opportunity to spread the word about mental health, wellness. I mean, take a look. Bipolar disorder, Hashimoto's, thyroid. It causes you hypo or hyperthyroidism, and it gives you depression or anxiety, or you wind up being, out there. You've got your bipolar, you've got your PTSD, you've got people who are raped who have PTSD, people who are abused as children with PTSD. If you had an accident, you have PTSD. Let's get into, you've got things that are caused by physical, you've got postpartum depression. Now, why in the world wouldn't you want to sit here and go out, you'll protect the titties, but you don't care about the mind? I mean, when a news agency says they do not want to be associated to mental health issues, whether they're positive or negative, we have a problem in our culture. Now, hey, is that going to keep me from doing my trips? No. So I am going to do my trips. I'm going this way. I'm going that way. It's going to be awesome. So they will be spread between 2017, 2018. More to follow, and thank you for enjoying my bitch bit.